There's a kind of intelligence that doesn't show up on report cards. It shows up as friction, the constant sense of moving at a different pace than the world around you. Society calls it impatience, overthinking, being too intense, but modern psychology sees it differently, a mind that processes the world at a different depth. Today, I'll show you 10 everyday habits that look like character flaws, but are actually patterns in highly cognitive people. Stay until number 1. It's where your own mind becomes the ceiling, the habit that turns every achievement into proof you haven't done enough yet. Number 10. You turn into an auditor when someone just wants comfort. Picture this. A close friend comes to you to vent about a problem, looking for nothing more than validation. Maybe a bad day at work, a fight with their partner. But as they're talking, your mind immediately picks up on a logical flaw in their story. Instead of offering a warm response, you point out, with complete precision, exactly where they went wrong and how they could fix it. The result? Your friend ends up feeling hurt because they came for emotional support and you handed them a technical audit. People often think you're cold or emotionally unavailable, but there's another explanation. Your brain naturally prioritizes resolving the actual problem over temporary comfort. What's the challenge is that emotional needs are just as real as logical ones, and sometimes being heard matters more than being corrected. Try this. Next time a friend vents, ask yourself one question before you speak. Does this person need a solution right now, or do they just need to be heard? That single pause can change the entire conversation. And if your brain is always looking for the real problem, it also can't stand being slowed down. Number 9, a physical intolerance for slowness. It drives you nearly crazy when someone walks slowly right in front of you, or when a person takes forever to get to the point of a simple story. You probably can't stand voice messages at normal speed. You read the end of articles before the middle. You finish other people's sentences in your head before they do. In psychology, this is known as processing speed asymmetry. Your brain is wired to absorb and connect information rapidly. And when the input coming at you is slow or flat, your mind starts generating its own noise just to stay occupied. It's not that others are too slow, it's that your internal engine runs at a pace that doesn't always match the environment around you. One small shift. When someone's explaining something slowly, use that gap to build a question. Not to rush them, but to have something ready that shows you were genuinely listening. It redirects the frustration into engagement. Your speed isn't the problem. The problem is having nowhere to put it. Number 8, tactical procrastination, chasing the edge. You have weeks to complete a major project, but you wait until the night before to start. Then, under that self-imposed pressure, will you produce work that surprises even yourself? This has always been labeled as laziness or irresponsibility, but there's a neurological explanation worth considering. Brains that crave stimulation get genuinely disengaged by tasks they perceive as routine. If a task doesn't present a real challenge, your mind struggles to generate enough dopamine to sustain focus. By pushing everything to the last minute, you create an artificial time threat. And that pressure activates your brain in a way that routine effort simply doesn't. Here's something worth testing. If you know this is how your brain works, work with it instead of against it. Set your own artificial deadlines a few days before the real one. Manufacture the pressure on purpose. Your brain doesn't know the difference. It just needs to feel the edge. And that same brain that needs the edge to perform, it also moves so fast it leaves conversations behind. Number 7. You make quantum leaps in conversations. Imagine you're in a group talking about cats, and suddenly you ask whether time travel will ever be possible. People look at you like you said something random, but to you the path was perfectly logical. Cats, laser pointers, beams of light, the speed of light, time perception, time travel. 5 logical steps in milliseconds, but all that came out of your mouth was the starting point and the final destination. This is called associative thinking, a pattern where the brain constantly searches for connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. It's not distraction, it's internal wiring that makes it hard to stay on the surface of any topic, because every idea pulls toward another one. Try this. When you make one of these leaps, show your work briefly. Just say, "That made me think of something. Can I show you how I got there?" Most people are curious once they see the connection. It transforms confusion into fascination. Number 6, a deep, almost allergic aversion to the obvious. You're faced with a problem that looks simple. Most people solve what seems obvious and move on, fully convinced that they're right. But something stops you. Your brain scans the structure of the problem and thinks, this is too clean. There has to be a hidden trap. This is called high-speed predictive processing, a tendency to distrust easy answers because the brain is constantly scanning for what's beneath the surface. It can be exhausting, especially when someone walks you through something that feels obvious, because your mind has already mapped out the paradoxes before the explanation even finishes. The friction isn't impatience. It's a brain that genuinely struggles to stay at surface level. Next time this happens, name it, at least to yourself. I know this looks easy, and that's exactly why I'm slowing down. That awareness alone turns a source of stress into something you can channel deliberately. If any of this is hitting close to home, the frustration of knowing exactly what you mean and watching it land wrong, you're not alone. A lot of people watching this right now recognize themselves in it. Let's keep going. Number 5, it frustrates you to translate your thoughts into words. Sometimes you stumble over your words, pause in ways that seem odd to others, or feel like no word is precise enough to capture what's happening in your head. You probably express yourself much better in writing than in speech. You've had the experience of knowing exactly what you want to say, and then opening your mouth and watching the idea collapse into something smaller, flatter, less true. Some brains process information in a nonlinear way, in abstract concepts, layered systems, or complete images that arrive all at once. Trying to push that through the narrow funnel of spoken language is genuinely frustrating. The idea is whole and clear inside. It's the translation that breaks it. When this happens, pause and name it. I need a second to find the right words for this. Most people respect that more than you'd expect. And writing things out first, even as a voice memo to yourself, it can help bridge that gap between how fast the thought moves and how slow language is. And when you can't fully express what you think, you also struggle to choose a side. Number 4, an extraordinary tolerance for paradox. You can listen to two completely opposing viewpoints and quickly find that both sides hold fragments of truth. You almost never become a fanatic of a single idea. This is called cognitive complexity, the ability to hold two seemingly contradictory truths in your head at the same time without having an identity crisis. You understand both sides so clearly that committing blindly to just one becomes practically impossible. You've probably been in arguments where you genuinely could have won and found yourself defending the other side. Not to be difficult, because you saw something true there too. And this can make you a careful thinker, and sometimes a deeply lonely one, because no group fully reflects the way you see things. Start here. Lean into that position instead of apologizing for it. In your next debate, practice saying, I see something true in both sides. Not as a cop-out, as a starting point. It tends to shift conversations from combat to something more interesting. Number 3, social object permanence, or friendships on pause. 6 months, no texts, no calls. Not because you're angry, not because you've forgotten, just silence. And then you finally get together and you pick the conversation up exactly where you left off, with the same warmth, the same ease, as if no time passed at all. You simply don't feel a constant need to check in or fill the silence with small talk. When the problem is that relationships need tending and the people in your life can't read your internal sense of connection. To them, silence feels like distance. Psychologists call this selective social engagement, a pattern where connection feels most natural when there's something real to exchange. The affection is genuine. The wiring just skips the filler. Do this. Pick one person you've been meaning to reach out to. Don't send a, hey, how are you? Send something real. An article, a question, an idea that made you think of them. Number 2, intellectual camouflage. You play dumb, again, not because you had to, because it was easier. You regularly use much simpler words than you actually know. Maybe you let someone win an argument you could easily counter just to avoid the exhausting social aftermath. Maybe you've laughed at a joke you found genuinely stupid, just to keep the peace. This is one of the loneliest habits there is. Somewhere along the way, probably in childhood, you learned that standing out has a social cost. So your brain built a quieter version of you for public use. You shrink, you simplify, you edit yourself down to something more digestible, and in the process, you lose a little of what's actually true about you. Worth trying. Notice the next time you catch yourself doing it. You don't have to perform anything, but you also don't have to erase yourself to keep the peace. In one conversation this week, say what you actually think instead of the safe version. Not to prove anything, just to practice being real. And the loneliest habit of all, the one that happens entirely inside you, with no audience, with no social game to play, is number one. Number one, chronic dissatisfaction under the weight of potential. You achieve something that everyone around you considers incredible. An award, a promotion, finishing an enormously complex project. People celebrate, but inside all you hear is a quiet voice whispering that it could have been better, that something was missing, that it wasn't really that big of a deal. The problem isn't the achievement, it's the gap. Your mind doesn't compare what you did to what others have done. It compares what you did to what you know you're capable of. And that internal standard moves every time you get close to it. You finish something and immediately see the next version, the better draft, the thing it could have been. It's not false humility. It's a mind that is genuinely incapable of seeing its own work as finished. Try this. Keep a small log, not of your goals, but of what you actually completed. Not what it could have been, what it was. Over time, your brain starts to build evidence against that inner voice. Not to silence your drive, but to give yourself permission to land, even briefly, before taking off again. If, while listening to all of this, you felt like someone had finally put into words something you've carried your whole life, take a moment. That recognition matters. There is nothing broken inside you. These patterns have real neurological and psychological explanations, and understanding them is the first step toward working with your mind instead of against it. Just stop spending energy apologizing for the way you're wired. Your mind is not a burden. It's just yours, or not Yuri. And learning to understand it rather than fight it is where the real work begins. How many of these did you recognize in yourself? Drop the number in the comments. If this video resonated, share it with someone who might need to hear that the way their mind works has a name. Subscribe and turn on notifications. There's more coming. And remember, this is an educational tool for self-awareness, not a clinical diagnosis. See you in the next one.